25th at 7:30 p.m. Ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Oklahoma City now becomes one of 4 NBA teams ever, one of 3 NBA champs ever, to win at least 84 total regular season and postseason games.
It's just the beginning, Ben, and you just look at a team with, these guys at such a young age, and, Chet's got a team option, Ismail Dieng has a team option, Jalen Williams team option, Keyshawn Wallace team option. Hey, Ben, they're all coming back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We are seeing unbelievable temperature surges over the past couple days. So I wanted to ask you this question to let the people know, how do we account for that in our handicapping? 2 good pitchers on the mound, but you look at a place like Wrigley Field, let's just say, 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, 90-plus degree temperatures. Is it almost like you say to yourself, you just have to fade the environment and not worry about the pitchers, because if we're hitting fly balls, they're going yard?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
As we know, it's just we enter every year, and it's, is this the Ravens' time? Is this Lamar Jackson's turn? Can they get past the Chiefs and all of these other, stalwarts of the AFC? But it's always really about Kansas City when we're talking Baltimore.
This potentially, Adam, as I send it back to you, potentially is a game changer in that you get a very talented quarter at a discount price.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Dude, that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Welcome back to another episode of The Smylie Show. I am Charlie Hume. He is Smylie Kaufman, and we have we had a guest earlier in the week. Usually when you're listening to this show midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, we're bringing a conversation Smiley's had with someone in golf to you. We're excited to bring you more of that next week. We talked to James Colgan on Monday, getting you updated on the latest on the PGA Tour media and business side, breaking down Brian Rolap, the incoming CEO of the PGA Tour. But today, Smylie and I have some items to catch up on. We did a brief recap of the Travelers, of Tommy Fleetwood, Keegan Bradley's showdown, and we want to unpack that a little bit more. We obviously have some Ryder Cup implications there. We have Smylie fresh off playing Bethpage Black at a Ralph Lauren event, giving us some insights on the course, who some course fits could be. And then we just have a big ball of Collin Morikawa topics to get into. A whole bunch of them on a number of different fronts. And Smylie, it feels like, if you're okay with it, that is the most topical place to begin. Shall we just dive into Collin Morikawa topics one by one?
It sure is. When you are listening to this episode, it will be the Thursday round of the Rocket Classic, in which Collin Morikawa is the favorite. And it's been an interesting day for Collin Morikawa. My Twitter was pretty much just him today. Taylor Swift at a bar in Nashville. That was kind of my Twitter thing today.
That's a heck of a For You page or Explore page, whatever it is on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
They've got you dialed.
Fran and I were jealous we were not invited to the tight end event that George Kittle and Travis Kelce are involved with, but we are very hopeful that the Tahoe event that the Kelce brothers are playing in, that Taylor Swift makes an appearance and that she sings karaoke. That is our dream.
Does Fran want to sing karaoke alongside Taylor? What is Fran's favorite Taylor Swift song? You kind of have to know this.
She doesn't sing a ton. Mr. Brightside.
Your favorite album?
Mr. Brightside.
Mr. Brightside?
Yeah.
I thought it was a Killer song.
That's maybe, yeah.
Did Taylor cover the Killer song? Man, I'm exposing myself over here.
She sang Shake It Off.
A song called Mr. Brightside? What are we talking about here?
That's Francie's karaoke song. That's what you just asked me.
Oh, I was asking what her favorite Taylor Swift song was.
Oh.
Yes, because I thought we're off to a great start here. We promised you Collin Morikawa sound. Now we're talking.
I think it's the Killers. Yeah,
Killers. It is definitely the Killers. Killers are, by the way, criminally underrated. Great library of music.
I don't know. I'll text her. I'll report back here.
That's perfect. We'll add that into the show. Here is, I think, the best place to start on Collin Morikawa, because we got to kind of set up today's story. He has some sound. Collin Morikawa has split from his caddy, Joe Greiner. I believe they worked together 5 weeks. This is post his split with his longtime caddy, JJ Jacobak. There was a little bit of, what do you call it? A little carousel, a caddy carousel of sorts, where JJ left Collin's bag, ended up on Michael Thorbjornsen's bag. Michael Thorbjornsen's caddy, Lance Bennett, who also carried for Tiger 1 point, ended up on Max Homa's bag. And Joe Greiner, who was, of course, Max Homa's longtime caddy, was on Collin's bag for 5 weeks. They split. Apparently this was a story that was broken by Adam Schupak of Golf Week prior to Collin Morikawa's round, his Pro-Am round on Wednesday at the Rocket Classic. There was a line in the story, as Adam wrote it, that said, "It's unclear who Morikawa will have take over permanently going forward. Quote, ask me anything you want in my press conference later. I'm with my Pro-Am partners now." So then Collin finishes his Pro-Am round. He's sitting down for media availability. Adam Schupak asks him a question, and we're going to play for you an exchange, and it is subtitled by our good friends at golf.com, of where we have many friends who've been on the show a number of times. So let's take a listen and a watch of this sound of an exchange between Collin Morikawa and Adam Schupak of Golf Week.
You know who's going to caddy for you at the British Open?
I don't, and I read your article that you wrote. Look, I'm not here to tell people how to do their jobs, but I don't get why you would make me sound bad because you put out my quote that I was playing with Pro-Am partners out front. Those guys are paying a lot of money. They're very important to the community. They're very important to the Rocket Classic. And for you to put out a quote like that, to put me down and saying, hey, wait 2.5 hours. I mean, you called me up on the first tee, So I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. You can write whatever you want. This is America. But don't put me down like that, because it's 2.5 hours, Adam.
I thought I was actually giving you credit that you were focused on your Pro-Am partners.
Okay, we can all read it very differently. That's not how I read it. I don't know how, but I'm just telling you, I think there's a perspective where people can read it like that. So I'm just going to leave it at that. We knew I was going to have media in 2.5 hours. I'm on the first tee meeting my Pro-Am partners as they're teeing off. So on the caddy front, I don't. It's a process that I'm going through. Hopefully we'll find out when the time comes, and I will let everyone know. Thank you.
All right, Smylie, let's start with I read you the excerpt. You've seen the excerpt. Did you read it? Did you interpret it closer to Collin or Adam?
Well, I went and tried to read the article, but I was looking in the article and I couldn't find this quote, but it was edited. So yes, I eventually did see the initial quote. Which, do you have that initial quote, or do you want me to go ahead and read it?
Yeah, well, I just read it.
You just read it.
If you were listening to the show that we both record together, this podcast we do call the Smylie Show, where I can read it again if you'd like me to.
Please do. Gosh, turn my brain on while you're at it.
And I'll start from the top of the story and read up into the end of that quote that Adam used in the story. But it says, the Collin Morikawa Joe Greiner experiment is over. Morikawa, who is scheduled to compete this week at the Rocket Classic, confirmed as much before teeing off in Wednesday's Pro-Am. He has a friend on the bag filling in this week. It's unclear who Morikawa will have take over permanently going forward. Quote, ask me anything you want in my press conference later. I'm with my Pro-Am partners now.
All right, so I'll start from Collin's standpoint. He's absolutely right. That's a time in which is supposed to be spent getting ready for the golf tournament, spending time with the Pro-Am partners. And we don't mind. Like when I was playing, I didn't mind whether a reporter or somebody with the network that was covering it that week, a journalist, if they came up and just wanted to talk, that's fine. But especially after a firing like that, that's kind of still in this gray area. Of course, it's been confirmed that Joe Greiner's not working that week, but there's a time and a place to ask, and it's definitely not on the first tee of the Pro-Am. That's when you got to catch him on the parking lot, either heading into the golf course, or just the timing of that is really poor. I would say from a player standpoint, I would be totally fine if he asked me heading into the clubhouse, leaving the range, anytime I'm not working. And it would probably be hey, thanks for asking. Let's talk about it at the media or the press center when I'm going to have my media obligation. So I thought Collin, the way he handled it, which he's been a topic of a lot of media scrutiny as far as just his lack of wanting to do a whole lot from a media perspective after whether it's close losses or just times he doesn't want to speak with the media. And it's been criticized, rightfully or wrongfully. I don't have much of an opinion. He can do whatever he wants after a round until the PGA Tour tells him he has to. So I could care less. I know he's been scrutinized for that. So I think that aspect of Collin and his willingness to do media or not do media is being tied in too much to this little snippet of this conversation where I think some people think he comes across as snippy and however you want to describe it. I personally like the directness of how he handled it. It wasn't necessarily too rude. It seemed pretty fair because if I would have read the same thing, I would have been probably pretty fired up too. I don't know when he read it. So if he was with his Pro-Am partners, it sounds like he was reading news articles while he was out there, which I don't know.
doing the math on that going back.
Yeah, I would probably say that I would very much side with Collin on this.
Just seemed like a salary dump, and that's what the shocking part of it is. But also, let's take a look at this. From a Giants perspective, they have money to spend. People weren't taking their money. Now that they hit the trade market, and quite frankly, I thought they got a steal. You're talking about a guy that should be good in the major leagues for the next 7 to 8 years in his prime, and the going rate of a salary for a great baseball player from the free agent market, it's $300+ million. I thought San Francisco made out well.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
What do you make of this price tag here, reportedly, of $1.7 billion for a club that right now technically doesn't even have a home ballpark?
We don't see a lot of teams sold in Major League Baseball. I mean, if you go back to 2020, Steve Cohen bought the New York Mets for $2.4 billion. The only team sold since then was the Orioles last year, also for around $1.7 billion.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Was the first time, I think, in Dodgers history that the ballpark was full in the first inning. Everybody was there to see Shohei Ohtani throw his first pitch as a Dodger, and I had mixed emotions about this for a few reasons. Number one, it was a reminder of, wow, this is so crazy, right? You're watching him hit 98, 99, even 100 on the radar gun going, this guy's not human. Nobody should be able to be this good of a hitter or this good of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I can't even believe I'm saying pitcher's battle and using the words Patrick Corbin. But can I tell you, Scotty, he's a different guy. He's a totally different guy with the Rangers than we've seen.
I say this all the time. Don't worry about the first 5 innings. Don't even watch the first 5 innings in Texas Ranger games. Because for whatever reason, there's a ton of runs scored in the first 5, and then it just stops. It just stops.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
But I also say this when it comes to working for Collin Morikawa, I think that's probably one of the most challenging bags to work for because of the way he plays the game. I think it's very difficult to club him because he hits shots that nobody else hits. When I can describe to you that he can be 180 yards and can just say, you know what, I think I'm just going to hit I'm just going to take a lot off this 5-iron. I'm just going to kind of chip fade one. And shoot, he could have been working for Max, and that could have been, let's hit 7-iron here. I think it's very tough. I think he's probably the most difficult player to caddy for. And I say that because he's really, really, really good, and he's really, really accurate. He's very, very good at hitting his numbers, but I think it's challenging to caddy for somebody that sees spin so much differently than most other tour players.
And I think that's so interesting because who he has on this bag this week, and I'm going to completely butcher this guy's last name, but it's a former Cal teammate, KK Limbhasut. You can go look it up. It's in that same story that Adam Schupak wrote, Limbhasut. But a guy that, if he's played some level of golf with Collin for an extended period of time, maybe has more familiarity with all the shots that Collin has in his bag and can play. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's going to be the long-term solution on Collin's bag, but let's delve into that a little bit further, because I think that's interesting. You and I kind of talked in the lead up to the show about where Collin is mentally. You see kind of the frustration with the media that's been building over the past few months, the caddy changes he's making now twice in the season, and just feeling like really dating back to the end of last season, where if there are no starting strokes at the Tour Championship, as there will be this year in Atlanta, he walks away with the trophy. And so that sort of press for, at what point is my good play going to get rewarded with the win? How do you think, it's a two-parter, maybe we start with the first part, which is like, how do you find a caddy when you're in that mental state that can both cope with where you are in a state of really feeling like you're due to win or you're owed to win, but you also have this very unique set of shots and game that you can't just pick up in a 5-week span, as Joe Greiner has attempted to do?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of trial and error with caddies to kind of figure out who's going to be the person that meshes the best with his, verbal cues on, it really isn't a very long time you have to say the right information and make sure that you don't screw up the player's mind in the shot that he sees. And sometimes that, a caddy that comes in, they're going to ask more questions when a player maybe doesn't want to have more information to talk about. It's like, hey, I see this. And sometimes the caddy doesn't know what to say because it's such a different way to play the game that you really need somebody that really understands his game, which, hey, maybe this guy that's caddying for him this week could be somebody that ends up caddying for him long term. I mean, Collin needs somebody that can just help him kind of get through this little rough patch. And this is a perfect person to have, somebody that he's close with, knows his game. I think finding a high level PGA Tour caddy, and it's going to take a minute because, like, Joe, you would think would be the perfect type of guy, like he's a friendly guy.
And he seems so engaged with Max throughout all those processes. Are there names of caddies that are recognizable to the public that where you could reference, say, this is the type of guy who either thinks through it at a highly analytical level, or that you could reference where it's like, this is the type of guy that Collin needs, whether or not he already has a bag?
Well, he needs a no BS guy. Collin's not somebody that, like, sure, he'll have a laugh out there, but for the most part, it's business as usual with Collin. And for the most part, JJ always kind of represented that same type of state of mind when I would be around him too. It would be interesting to see. Well, maybe he ends up back with JJ long, a couple months from now. Who knows? Maybe Thor and JJ win this week, and maybe that's going to be a new partnership for the next decade. Who knows? But it's hard to ever really kind of know how players and caddies get set up. A lot of times the agents have a lot to do with it, just based off of who they've worked with in the past. But Collin's been around enough to where he's seen enough caddies probably work with certain players. Heck, maybe the guy that he wants is on somebody else's bag. You just don't know. When Collin Morikawa texts and offer you a job when you're already on a bag, it's definitely one you'd probably consider.
Yeah. I mean, I think going back to the quote things, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to call Morikawa soft this week. They're going to call him petty, vindictive. They're going to question why he's going after a reporter. Once again, I find myself kind of agreeing with Collin Morikawa, in the same sort of vein as what happened after Bay Hill. And I'd even stretch this and connect it to what happened with Rory with the failed driver test at Quail Hollow. It's probably not a great take if I have to go walk into a media tent with all these people, but I just think there's some sort of level that's been reached in terms of just, and I'm not saying every member of the media, I'm not even saying Adam Schupak necessarily, but the story is what these guys are putting out in front of you on a week-to-week basis. And, putting a scoop or, being first to getting something out or painting a quote in a certain light because you don't like the way guys approach media. I just don't find that to be the right way to go about these things. If the goal is like building a relationship with a player where you can actually get valuable insights and thoughts on the game that are going to be informative to your audience. And maybe that's, just more of the nature of the show we do that's less like breaking news and more of a immersive look at the game of golf. But that to me is what strikes me about all these sort of interactions is like the whole Rory thing where like a piece of information gets out where it should not have gotten out. And there's just it seems like the impetus behind that is let's get a scoop rather than how does this fit within the larger ecosystem of the game that I'm trying to cover? And if I'm going to put this out, can I attach it to an explanation of what a failed driver test actually means on tour and why it's, maybe the difference of a yard, or even less than a yard. And I don't know. I mean, these are just kind of big picture ruminations, but I just feel like I really do understand where a lot of these players come in terms of their frustration with the way they're covered sometimes. I get it.
Well, I coming from just my experience, I always never knew if like a journalist or reporter asked me a question, whether it was on or off the record, whether they were going to write a story on it and whether I wanted something to be written about it. Not to say I was, supremely covered when I was on the PGA Tour, but when there were times questions were asked, I would be like, I don't really know if I want that written.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say yeah, I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I think it's one of the most difficult parts of my job is trying to get information without interrupting a player's prep and their time and just making sure that it's not sensitive information and is this okay for TV? So it's always a line that you're trying to walk very kind of gently across because you don't want to cross the line with the player. And just for example, today with Collin, that obviously was a line crossed with him, and he felt like, hey, this was something that I felt like I answered respectfully, and that wasn't a quote that I appreciated, and he's fair to say that in the press conference. So I think it's one of those move along things. Collin handled it fine, direct. He could have handled it, away from the tent. He could have given a one word answer and say, no, I don't know. And we wouldn't have looked at it any other way. We would think, okay, he just doesn't want to answer. He's being short with us, but that's the way he decided to deal with it. And I'm fine with that too.
I appreciate the candor. I appreciate the honesty. And if you really, really want to, get meta in terms of how the media coverage is, it's created another storyline to talk about. So, I mean, if you're in the media, you got to be thankful for it either way. The second piece of this is just his psyche. As a putter tinkerer, he's tinkering. Although Smylie, I'm heartbroken because I thought I had a putter brother in Collin Morikawa. I thought we were going to be Soto boys for life, and it looks like it's getting dropped. He went from the Soto to a TaylorMade Spider, and this last week he was with some TaylorMade reps. They obviously, of course, they own Logan Olson, and he was working with some Logan Olson putters there. Obviously works with Stephen Sweeney, a partnership that's been beneficial. But of course, in the last this run here, he's been so close to winning some events and putting well in many of them, but just hasn't made it over that hump. His psyche right now, what do you make of? I guess if you put yourself in his position or his shoes, how do you go about working on what's between the two ears, maybe less so than how you're actually putting or the way you're striking the ball, or just kind of cleaning that part of the game up, knowing you have everything you need to win in terms of skill or ball striking?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to his coach at Oakmont too. And it was an interesting start to the year because Collin Morikawa really did play nicely at the beginning of the year. Bay Hill is obviously a week that was one that he definitely wants back, and Russell Henley ends up chipping on 16. Next thing you know, Russell Henley's lifting the trophy. But like a lot of players, he was actually getting sick on the West Coast, wasn't really quite healthy for a couple of weeks there. The ball striking's obviously been really solid. The putter has been good. And I think we've been kind of looking for that type of breakout type of year that we were kind of thinking that he was going to have, and he's been making cuts but not really been in contention. So where I think the psyche is, well, ever since he let go of his caddy JJ, it's you have to think he's searching just a little bit for whether it's just trying to be the best version of Collin Morikawa, the best putter he can possibly be, having the best caddy he can possibly have. And he's just searching a little bit right now. And it doesn't mean he's not going to play good. He can go out and win this week. He's a favorite to win the golf tournament. But until there's some continuity with Collin Morikawa, with a consistent bag man, a consistent putter, and
how about glove? I mean, that's the other part.
And a glove, yeah, that's right.
I mean, and that indicates, and I get why he'd be searching right now, because it's got to feel like it's kind of stacking up against you. But you have the media piece, you have the caddy piece, you have the putter piece, you have the whether or not you're wearing a glove when you're hitting irons piece. I mean, all of it kind of chalks up to me to a guy who's really just trying to find something that feels like a constant so he can go out and win a golf tournament.
Well, a couple of years ago, he was kind of fighting his game a little bit and still almost won this golf tournament. Does not mean he can't go and play well and win. But typically when we talk about like the Open Championship, when we talk about the FedEx Cup playoffs, we talk about the Ryder Cup coming up. When you see guys playing well at these events, typically they're working on the same things, month over month. They're not kind of searching for things week to week. And I think that's what you want to see from Collin over the next month or so is, can he commit to whether it's a putter, same caddy? That's what you're looking for. And then, and also I think maybe like get a milkshake at the end of the day. Kind of just be a little,
I love that. Hey man,
just end the day nice. End the day with a smile on your face.
just get a milkshake.
Enjoy life a little bit,
I like that. I like that. That's some good advice. That's some Smylie endorsed advice.
I had the peach milkshake last night from Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
I think it's kind of mid.
Okay, well, so I thought you liked it when we talked. I've never had the peach milkshake. I'm not a peach guy. I will say Chick-fil-A, that like lemonade vanilla ice cream thing. It's like a lemonade milkshake is to die for, dude. That's top tier, truly elite stuff.
We are seeing unbelievable temperature surges over the past couple of days. So I wanted to ask you this question to let the people know, like, how do we account for that in our handicapping? Like, 2 good pitchers on the mound, but you look at a place like Wrigley Field, let's just say, 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, 90-plus degree temperatures. Is it almost like you say to yourself, you just have to fade the environment and not worry about the pitchers, because if we're hitting fly balls, they're going yard?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Kevin Durant, at the age of 36 years old, after 17 seasons that he has played in the NBA DRS, is now on his way to H-Town.
I don't think it's a great move. I wanted him to go to a ready-made championship team full of a veteran roster and see if he can ring chase that way. Not to go to an organization on the come-up that if you just stay the course, and also, what better blueprint do we have than just staying the course than safe, right?
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
What I was going to use the segue in this portion of the show was noting that Collin Morikawa has now fallen out of the 6 automatic qualifier spots for the U.S. Ryder Cup team, which I think he'll still get a pick, but we were headed to discuss that. And we're going to do that with the help of our friends at Ahead, because this is a Ryder Cup look ahead, Smylie. Ahead is a strategic partner for enterprise clients, helping them navigate the path toward digital transformation, much like an expert caddy, reading the course ahead and providing the winning combination of technology and execution. Learn more at ahead.com. And Ahead's going to be part of our coverage for the Ryder Cup itself, Bethpage Black. So excited about that. Smylie, speaking of Bethpage Black, you teed it up there. We saw some cool highlights on social media. You rocking the Ralph Lauren stuff. You were there for was it was like a junior event at Bethpage Black,
AJGA,
right?
yeah, at the Polo Junior Classic. They've had that since I was playing the AJGA, and it's now the RLX Ralph Lauren Junior Classic, and they've had it at Bethpage. I think it's like the last 4 or 5 years. It's 32 boys, 32 girls. Team like a pod situation match play, so similar to Austin. Just think about that. So different pods, and they so it's match play all week. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And so you played it, and here's where I want to start kind of chatting about Ryder Cup is if you are, I mean, I want some course notes, but really I'm intrigued for your takeaways as to immediately, is there a profile player that stands out, or like a specific guy where you're like, this guy is going to feast on this place? Or on the flip side, is there a guy or a profile player that's like, man, I know this person's high in the standings, but not so sure they're gonna be a fit here at Bethpage?
Well, it was really fun to play. I was excited to check it out. Obviously, going to be working the coverage for NBC in September, and just being back and playing the golf course. Of course, I played in 2016 at the Northern Trust, so it had been close to 10 years since I've been back. My memories were that the rough was thick that week. The golf course was hard, but it wasn't like this overly, this like Oakmont type of hard where these bunkers are just like situated very, on the edges of the fairways, not like this crazy narrow golf course. There's some room off the tee, which I enjoyed.
I think it's the sign. I think it's really the sign that gets everyone. They see the sign. It's like almost like a sign, you see like on a Jaws movie or something. You're like, I can't play this golf course. But really, it's interesting because that's not an uncommon take that I've heard from people. Yeah, and I remember there being more slope in the greens. At least the front nine, the greens didn't have nearly as much slope as I remembered. I thought they were much more undulated than they were. I believe it's a Tillinghast design, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true? I believe that is correct. Yes.
Anyways, the fairways were actually widened a little bit in some spots. As last year, Keegan, and maybe it was just, I'm not sure if it's just Keegan, but the U.S. obviously gets to set up the golf course the way they want. And based on what I could tell and talking with some caddies that were there, is that they're definitely going for a little bit of a wider fairway, rough that's not nearly as long as it typically is, enough to where it's a penalty, but not going to like cause you to not get to the green type of penalty. So they want scoring, which is how, they set it up at Hazeltine. Was it probably the best example that I can give you is a kind of a Bombers type of paradise for the most part, a lot of birdies. So that was my impression, is that I think a player that has length off the tee is going to be a huge asset to either of these teams. I think you'll see a lot of putts hold from that 15-foot plus range, which you always kind of see in Ryder Cups, but I definitely think you're going to see some putts hold. Like I feel like you can make any putt from anywhere on the green, which is a lot of fun for the TV broadcast. So you have putters that, can get hot from that mid range. I think the length off the tee is important. And the thing that I didn't like from playing it, I did not like the bunkers. The bunkers, the sand in the bunkers it was like very, very heavy sand. And it doesn't appear that way when you look at it, but I found it to be very challenging to play out of. It's not a type of sand that you would be able to spin a whole lot. And this, you're not picking a player based off of their bunker game on how they play in heavy sand. I'm just letting you know that I struggled out of it a ton.
Well, okay, hold on. You're painting a picture here, and there's this one guy that's popping for me. It's like Tillinghast, Bombers Paradise, Get Hot with the Putter, Northeast New York course. Like, I know a guy that fits that profile pretty well, that won a pretty big tournament at Winged Foot. Like, this is this like perfect for Bryson?
It's perfect for Bryson.
Wow. So Bryson's got to be on the team, right?
Well, he's going to qualify.
Well, but I think he's been sliding in the most recent. Yeah, he's down to fifth. He's down to fifth, and it's still,
this is the perfect golf course for Bryson.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Huge. So, like, play him in every match.
Play all 5 sessions with Bryson.
Yes. 100%.
Is it 4 sessions? I'll get the President's Cup.
His length is too big of an advantage to sit him down any match.
So Bryson is the template here. Is there a guy in the mix on the American side, or really either side, where you're like, this guy may be going to be a tough go for him here?
Well, before I get there, there's one other player who I think is really played themselves into a really nice profile for this place, and that's Ben Griffin. I think Ben Griffin really
currently eighth.
I think his game really is suited for this place, just with his length that he has off the tee, and his ability to make a ton of birdies. So I really like him here. Who doesn't really fit the pro? I mean, anybody that's kind of. I mean, all these guys are good.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to make you call someone out. I mean,
I don't think any of these players. I think anybody can play good here. I really do feel that way. Anybody can make birdie on any hole. And I know the golf course is probably going to change a bunch until September. There's some. It seemed like some fescue that they were telling me that gets cut about twice a year, and it looked like it had just been cut in the last month or so. That's going to definitely be outside kind of the rough line. So if you were to get pretty wayward, you'll find yourself maybe in some heavier fescue. But for the most part, the rough was, you got to remember, this is June and this thing's played in September. The golf course is going to change. It's going to be firmer and faster, you would think. But I really, at this point in time, I'm sure there's some analytics that they're going to all look at on how they're going to make up their roster and who's going to be the pairings. Because I don't know how else to differentiate of how you can say one guy's going to play better than the other, because it's a golf course I think anybody can play good at.
Well, this is perfect. You're mentioning data and analytics. Super interesting and cool model on Data Golf, where it's modeling the probability on both the American and European side of various players making the team. And I want to kind of go through that list and use as a jumping off point, Smylie, to define 4 different tiers, okay? And we'll just do it 4 players a tier because that'll get us 3 of those tiers will get us through the team rosters themselves. And the top tier is like these 4 guys must be on the bus, like locks, cannot afford to leave them off the team. A sort of middle tier of guys that are between either low end automatic qualifiers or kind of high end, should be picked. We're pretty convinced they're going to be on that team. Guys that are bubble, but on the right side of the bubble, and then guys that you do not think are going to make the team, and we can do as many of those as we want to past 12. Let's do it for the Americans, and then we'll flip over to the Europeans. But first, let me read you just the top 12 on both sides. So for the Americans, Data Golf is predicting in this order: Scotty Scheffler, the greatest probability of making it, then Bryson DeChambeau.
He's already made the team.
Yes, he has a 100% chance of making the team. I'm reading off a list here, Smylie. I do know he's already made the team. Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, Collin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, and Ben Griffin are the top 6. And then your next 6 in terms of probability are Patrick Cantlay, Keegan Bradley, Russell Henley, Jordan Spieth, JJ Spawn, and Sam Burns. They're predicting those 12 to have the highest likelihood of making it on this American Ryder Cup team.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
It was the first time, I think, in Dodgers history that the ballpark was full in the first inning. Everybody was there to see Shohei Ohtani throw his first pitch as a Dodger, and I had mixed emotions about this for a few reasons. Number one, it was a reminder of, wow, this is so crazy, right? You're watching him hit 98, 99, even 100 on the radar gun going, this guy's not human. Nobody should be able to be this good of a hitter or this good of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
As we know, it's just we enter every year and it's, is this the Ravens' time? Is this Lamar Jackson's turn? Can they get past the Chiefs and all of these other, stalwarts of the AFC? But it's always really about Kansas City when we're talking Baltimore.
This potentially, Adam, as I send it back to you, potentially is a game changer in that you get a very talented quarter at a discount price.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Oklahoma City now becomes one of 4 NBA teams ever, one of 3 NBA champs ever, to win at least 84 total regular season and postseason games.
It's just the beginning, Ben, and you just look at a team with, these guys at such a young age, and, Chet's got a team option, Ismail Dieng has a team option, Jalen Williams team option, Keyshawn Wallace team option. Hey, Ben, they're all coming back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
On the European side, Rory McIlroy, 100% chance of making the team. Smylie, I want to just note that for you. He's on the team. Then John Rahm with the next best chance. Tommy Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton, Sepp Straka, and Ludwig Oberg. Those are your top 6. And then the next 6 on the European side, Robert McIntyre, Victor Hovland, Shane Lowry, Aaron Rai, Harry Hall, Matt Fitzpatrick are the top 12 predicted on both sides to make these teams. So, Smylie, let's start with the Americans. Our 4 locks. Like, who are the guys that we just cannot afford? We've noted, I mean, Scott, we don't need to say Scotty Scheffler's name. I think it's fair coming out the conversation we just had about course fit. Bryson's in that group too for you, yeah?
Yeah, it's Scotty, Bryson, Xander. I know Xander hasn't had the year that he's been looking for, but his length is such a dang asset at this place. And of course, he's a 2-time major champion last year. So Scotty, Bryson, and Xander, and then Collin Morikawa would be the 4th guy. I know we just talked about him for 20 minutes about how we're looking for continuity from the guy, but this is he's your ace in the hole when it comes to just precise iron game. So
would you put just given, and Collin's been great in team competitions, where they've won, but like, if it's between Collin and JT over like who's going in the higher tier, who's going in the lower tier, you still like Collin in that top tier with Scotty, Xander, and Bryson, and JT in that second tier?
Yeah, just because of JT's major record. Yeah. I think that's a huge knock against his profile. He's played really, really well over the last couple of years, but the majors has been a big time bugaboo, which is the most comparable type of pressure that you can compare it to.
So if we have, again, Scotty, Bryson, Xander, Collin, and our absolute locks, they will be on the team, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then does JT head that second tier for you? That guys that should comfortably make it. He is currently 6th on that qualification list. But just one step down from the lock group.
I have Cantlay and JT,
okay,
just kind of in that same spot right there. And I think I would put Russell Henley probably in that same deal too.
Cantlay, JT, Russell Henley. Is it fair to also say, given what you just said about course fit, that Ben Griffin falls in that group? Or is he more of a bubble group?
No, I would put just if we're going to continue to tier, I would say that those 7 guys I feel most comfortable about being on the team. And then actually I think I would have to put JJ Spawn right here with Henley. Because he's going to make the team. He won the US Open. He's going to make it on points. Yeah. He's gone from not on the bubble to on the team. So he has to be in that category too. So that's 8 right there. And I actually have 8 from the European side too that I can give you.
Let's wait on the Europeans. I want to do full Americans. Yeah. And then we're going to split the 2 up. So I had a question there as well. I mean, we sat on that couch in the north side of Pittsburgh, following JJ Spawn's win at Oakmont, and the nature of the conversation was, how do we miss this guy? Like, he's really had as good of a year as a lot of guys that we've talked about consistently of trending, looking like they're going to make this team, and here he is, he wins a major and he's a lock for the team. How does JJ's game profile at Bethpage Black? Like, what do you think he's going to do really well there, and what do you think is going to be a challenge for him when he's on this team that week?
Well, I think he pairs really well in alternate shot. I think just his ability just to be rock solid player. He's going to hit it right where he's looking. So you would prefer to put him on the holes in which he's going to be hitting irons. So I'm trying to remember what the par 3s were. That's actually a big conversation that these players have every single year when it comes to these team competitions. The 3rd hole, and let's see, it goes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 3 and 8. I'm just curious if it's. I know 17 is a par 3, and then the 14th hole. So it's
a little bit of mix.
Yeah, it's 2 evens, 2 odds. So there's no advantage or disadvantage there. So, he's just solid, man. I think Henley and JJ both will pair up with. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to see. I know Scotty and Bryson play together at Whistling Straits. It'd be kind of sick if they played together, but I would probably, you have to imagine that Scotty probably Russell will play again together. And then
that's where I was going to go next, is like to start to kind of make some pairings where Scotty and Russell seem to make sense. Of course, Cantlay will make the team in large part due to his partnership with Xander Schauffele, given that he hasn't been in soaring form of late. And then you got a lot of different options in there with some of the names you've listed, between Morikawa, JT, Bryson DeChambeau. But you have that group of 8 there, JJ Spawn as well in that group. So who are your last 4 in on this team?
Well, the next category I have is it's its own category, and it's only one player in it. It's Keegan Bradley, because I would put Keegan in the same bucket of Cantlay, JT, Henley, and JJ. Like, Keegan's on the team. He's played good enough to be on this team. All the data says that he's easily a top 6 or 7 American player right now. So he's his own category. And if he wants to be on the team, great. That's a win for everybody if he gets to play. So that would be, one of the players.
And if you had to guess, and I'm not saying, I'm not asking you to betray any confidential conversations, but how do you think this goes as we get closer if he's not qualified, but you have a list of people, including some of your buddies who are going to be on this team, who are like, dude, Keegan, we want you to play on this team. Like, just in between conversations we've had recently with guys on the show, I'm thinking of like a Kisner or a Justin Thomas, who, like, if I'm those guys and I'm on this team, what angles am I working to convince Keegan that he needs to pick himself to play on this team because it gives us the best chance to win the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough decision. It's one that I don't envy for him. He's going to have to call somebody that's not going to make the team and say, "Hey, man, you're not on the team," and they're going to find out that he's on the team. And there's nothing that any of the players that can say about it, because he's he's the captain. He gets to decide who's on the team. And so he has said that unless he makes the top 6, he won't play. I know these things have changed now. But when I look at this next pool of players, I can't imagine that any of these players were happy that JJ won the US Open.
Yeah, because that's for sure.
Because it's a group of players that's really hard to sort through who's going to make the team.
I can't even believe I'm saying pitcher's battle and using the words Patrick Corbin. But can I tell you, Scotty, he's a different guy. He's a totally different guy with the Rangers than we've seen.
I say this all the time. Don't worry about the first 5 innings. Don't even watch the first 5 innings in Texas Ranger game. Because for whatever reason, there's a ton of runs scored in the first 5, and then it just stops. It just stops.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
No way that I'm betting on the Cleveland Cavaliers for any reason whatsoever.
No.
Ever. Like, when they had LeBron James, it was a different story. I think Spider's great. He's no LeBron. I don't see him carrying them to a title. And I don't believe in the Knicks at all. The Knicks never get it done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Kevin Durant, at the age of 36 years old, after 17 seasons that he has played in the NBA DRS, is now on his way to H-Town.
I don't think it's a great move. I wanted him to go to a ready-made championship team full of a veteran roster and see if he can ring chase that way. Not to go to an organization on the come-up that if you just stay the course, and also, what better blueprint do we have than just staying the course and okay, safe, right?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I just had a vision come to me of Ben Griffin hoisting the Tour Championship trophy. I just feel like he's going to win the FedEx Cup.
He'll be there.
Okay, so we are going to now talk about Team Europe, and we're going to do it very, very tastefully here. This is a nice, very topical segue with the help of our friends from Shipsticks. Shipsticks get you from your front door to four easier than ever. They'll pick up your golf clubs from your home or office and deliver them on time, guaranteed to your golf destination anywhere in and outside the United States. Like if you're going over to where Team Europe plays, if you're going over to play some golf and watch the Open Championship in the coming weeks, Shipsticks is the way to get those clubs over there, especially because some of the horror stories I've heard about the airports there, just bags and bags just lost there till the end of time, unless you have an air tag on it. So no more airport headaches, no more lugging heavy bags, just easy, stress-free travel for golfers like you. The supporting benefits include white glove service, complimentary insurance, real-time tracking, door-to-door service, international shipping, and it's for any occasion. Shipsticks is perfect for buddies trips, business trips, even family vacations where managing kids, strollers, and extra luggage can ruin your vacation before it's even begun. Enjoy 20% off your next shipment by using the promo code Smylie. Smylie, let's do the European team. Who are the locks? They're going no matter what guys on this team?
It goes 8 deep. It does.
You have 8 locks on this team.
8 locks.
Okay, who are your locks?
They're going to be on the team.
Okay.
It's John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Tyrrell Hatton, Sepp Straka, Ludwig Oberg, Victor Hovland, Tommy Fleetwood, and Shane Lowry. Those 8 guys are going to be on the team.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's interesting because the one of that list that you did not list that is higher than both Shane Lowry and Victor Hovland in terms of probability of making the team is Robert McIntyre.
Yeah, and he would be 9.
He would be 9.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Bobby Mack has done enough, especially seeing the way he played at the U.S. Open at a challenging Northeast course. That guy to me would be, I guess, given the way Shane played early in the year, I think I would extend that. I agree with you entirely on 8 of those guys being locks, and I really would extend it to 9 locks and include Bobby Mack in that. And then
Justin Rose will be on the team.
I mean, Justin Rose's probability. He is considerably down the list in terms of probability to make this team. He has a 4.5% chance to make the team, which is below Sergio Garcia. Yeah, it's insane.
What?
If you go look at this at probability of making the team, I'll just start ripping off names here: Aaron Rai, Harry Hall, Matt Fitzpatrick, Thomas Dietrich, Niergaard Peterson, Rasmus Højgaard, David Puig.
Wonder why that is.
You know, maybe they just feel like he just the golf he's played this year is not.
He almost won the Masters. Lost a playoff.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold the phone.
Well, I mean, he missed the cut at the U.S. Open, missed the cut at the RBC Canadian Open, missed the cut at the PGA. Was second at the Masters, but I mean, really, this year it's tough. It is a little bit harsh on him because he finished T8 at the API.
He's got 2 runners up at majors over the last couple of years. I mean. Yeah, okay. I mean, we'll keep going here. I just think his experience is valuable.
So you have Rosie as your 10th. Who are your last 2?
Honestly, no idea. I can try my best here to give you a name.
I just take both the Højgaard brothers and be done with it.
I mean,
why not?
They're up there.
David Puig?
They're up there on the points list. Gosh. I mean,
I think you
could pick a name out of a hat. I really do not know.
I think so. Your pool, I think realistically, so let's just pull Rose off the lock list. So we want 3 guys. I think it's 3 guys from a list that includes Rose, both the Højgaard brothers, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Aaron Rai. And then also Thomas Dietrich, who won earlier this year in Phoenix. I think he's got a shot to make that team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll be interesting, and I wonder how many sessions
what guys. What about Niergaard Peterson? Is he he's up there on this thing?
I believe he's a bomber. He was kind of in and around it. He was in and around it at Oakmont for a brief period of time.
Let's check out his profile, how he's played. Oh wow,
yeah, he's got some solid finishes.
All right, he's kind of a sleeper. Definitely a sleeper to make the team.
I just don't see. I don't see. They're going to. They're going to ride. They take. Yeah,
man, they're going to ride their horses. They're strong, dude.
Do you think Sergio makes the team?
But I will say, when I look at, like Scotty, Bryson are obviously the two best American players, and then you go Rob, Rory, and they kind of just, let's say they just offset each other, and then you kind of go to the next list, and I see that Americans are favorites, but man, I just love this European team. They just have so many solid players.